What up? Lou Know It. Haven't done a review for a while. Uh, Still got to step up my game in terms of production values. But anyway, this is a review for Alita, Battle Angel. So I felt compelled to make this review, even though I don't have a huge audience base. Still, the in my opinion, this is one of the most. I mean, I don't want to say egregious, but just in terms of the critical response, Rotten Tomato score, and general critical response, it's one of the most, in my opinion, underestimated, undervalued movies that I've seen. So you can see it from the Rotten Tomato score. The audience score is like 92, and the critic score is, well, I mean, when I last checked, it was like 92 audience, 50 something critics. Basically, this movie was, in my opinion, really like amazing in a lot of ways. So I'll start with stuff that wasn't that great, which I do understand the criticism of. So the story's cliched. I mean, the story's nothing revolutionary about the story. And there's a romantic subplot, and I don't know why Robert Rodriguez has a tendency to use like the I want to say kid. I mean, he's a little bit, young. He's a young dude who plays Alita's romantic interest. He just feels like he should be in like a sitcom or something. He just doesn't feel. I don't know, some about him, and also even like his costume and everything, like just something about him just didn't feel up to the quality of the production values of this movie. And then also just, his acting wasn't horrible, but just didn't, it didn't really feel, I didn't buy it. So that romance subplot it was weak, and it wasn't really needed. I mean, I think they wanted something to kind of pull her into the whole idea of Alita is, I'm assuming you know, but if you don't know, a doctor, they call him doctor, but he's a scientist essentially, who builds robotic components, android components, and repairs them. It's kind of not exactly clear exactly what he does, but we know that he does that much. We know that he created this body, which was originally for his daughter, which he finds Alita's, basically just the top part of her head, and she has a human brain. And so, essentially, I'm saying all this to say that part of the story is kind of they want to create a connection with this essentially artificial intelligence. It's not artificial because she has a human brain, but she's this non-human entity, and they want to create this bond she has to the real world. So I think it would have been, I don't know, I think they could have done it maybe in a different way. It didn't need to be a romance. It could have been like a friendship. It could have been, but that was why they had that character there to create this romance, which would create this kind of her bond to humanity. But the romance didn't feel real. It felt contrived, and there was, it's in the trailer, so there's this gesture where she literally was like willing to give him her heart, and like takes her heart out, and it just felt very contrived and corny. But other than that, Christoph Waltz, who played the Doctor, was very good, and I believed his connection to her, his sympathy, his empathy towards her, and the rest of the cast was underused, but everyone else was good. I mean, Jennifer Connelly's good. I've been a fan of hers, from her whole career. And then I I'm always forgetting how to say his name, but Mahershala Ali, who won the Golden Globe for Green Book, and he's in True Detective, and is excellent in both those. He was in this not enough. He was very good also. So essentially, good performances all around, except for the love interest of Alita, who was, not good. Now, the draw of this movie is really the world that it creates, the action. I mean, let's be honest here. This is an action-based movie that was drawn from manga and anime, which is all about sort of the visual elements and largely about the action. And it was amazing. It was the look of the. I realized at this point with things like Avengers and even going back to Avatar, which was directed by the producer of this, James Cameron, the technology, it wasn't something that we hadn't seen before, but it was really pretty amazing, because they had multiple characters where they were fully CG, they were interacting with human characters, and they were, you could see like you could recognize the actor. Like one of the villains in it is this guy Ed Skrein, I think, or something. I'm not sure his name exactly, but he's the bad guy from Deadpool, and you could recognize him from his face, even though he's all CG, and that because they obviously they motion captured him, and then they created the CG body, but you can see his, they kept the CG face to look like him. I just thought that kind of stuff was really impressive, the way they did it and the way they interacted with the real actors. And then the action was just some of the best action I've ever seen in any movie. So I don't see how you give that a bad review. Like, I just don't. If you judge it based on what it's trying to do, it aside from some of the plot points, the romance subplot, it does what it's trying to do in spades. I mean, it was the action is just the action, the CG, the world is beautiful to watch. Like, it was, I'm dying to go see it again. I will go see it again this weekend probably. I didn't see it in 3D. It looked like it would be really fun in 3D. So I'm going to try and see it. I don't know if it's playing on IMAX. I might try and see it in IMAX 3D. But the action is just really good. Well done. And the pacing I thought was good. In terms of like how much action there was, in terms of like the buildup of the action, in terms of like the buildup of the character, where she's basically, she's a badass from jump. Like she just, it's like it's programmed into her, and as you learn why she is as such a badass as the plot progresses, but even that sort of builds up. So in other words, she's no joke from jump. And from the first encounter with the quote unquote bad guys, they call them hunter killers. They're basically bounty hunters. Most of them are androids, but there are human bounty hunters as well. And her first encounter with them, she just don't take shit from anybody, and she fucks some people up. Excuse my language for anybody that is watching this. That of the younger variety, but she fucks people up, man, from jump. But like I was saying, the progression of it, the progression of the action, the progression of like the fights, it builds, it gets better. Some movies like they blow their wad early. They have their best action in the first fights. This one, you don't even see any action for a while. You're introduced to the character, so the pacing was good. The action was amazing. The CG was really dope. it was something. Even though it was like a cliche plot, it was trying something new. In terms of like the use of CG, the look of her to kind of imitate the look of manga and anime characters. Some people are saying, oh well, that's a stylistic choice, and they're supposed to look real, so why shouldn't they look real? They're supposed to look human. It's just a stylistic choice in the manga. It's a fucking movie, so let it be a stylistic choice in the movie too. Like, well, I don't understand. Like, I genuinely don't understand how people are like, oh, complaining about that aspect of it. I thought her look was really cool. I mean, I can see how people are saying, well, why is she the only one that has that kind of look with the big eyes and stuff? But it's a stylistic choice, which I thought worked, and I felt empathy for her character, which to me is always an achievement when you can make someone feel empathy for a fully CG character. I'm trying to remember, there was another movie a while back that the Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes was really like the first movie, and this isn't on that level in terms of quality, but like the second Planet of the Apes movie. And the first one, really. The third one was a disappointment, but the recent ones I'm talking about, with Andy Serkis, those were some of the first movies that like I was truly felt significant empathy for a CG character. And this wasn't on that level, but I did feel empathy for her character. So, if you're an action fan, see it. If you're an anime manga fan, see it. And honestly, just if you're a fan of sort of if you're a Robert Rodriguez fan, see it. Like, it's worth seeing. It's the amount of quality and ingenuity that went into this. It's worth seeing for that. If you're not a big action fan, then yeah, maybe stay away. But it's definitely way better, in my opinion. Better. I don't know. Better is obviously subjective. It's clearly achieved a lot of what it was trying to achieve, and it's very impressive, and it deserves, in my opinion, a better critical response. And I really hope it's not as much of a bomb as it's looking like it's going to be. They set up that they can make a sequel, so if it does well, it's got to do well overseas, because it's the way it's tracking in America. It's not going to do great, but I hope it does well. It's a good movie, and I would give it, my rating would be, it's 8 out of 10, I'd say. And like the CG sort of action element is like 10 out of 10. It's really just some of the plot points, and really it was the romance subplot was the only thing that really bothered me. And then the fact that I felt Jennifer Connelly was underused, because she's a great actress, and I felt like the way that her story between Christoph Waltz and that could have been developed more. So I had some issues with the plot, but overall, just really good, and in a lot of ways, and definitely worth seeing for fans of the genre, fans of a lot of the elements where this was based on. You should definitely see it, and it's a good, fun, impressive movie. So that's it, and I will try and start uploading more. Hopefully, I can build this channel some more, and if I welcome any comments, obviously, about my thoughts and anything else. What I should, if I should do anything differently. Luno it out.